And come Wednesday, the country will have a new leader with President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. It comes as Washington, D.C. is still reeling from the assault on the Capitol 12 days ago. On the Night Beat, KELOLAND's Dan Santella talks with Senator John Thune about the 2020 election.
Bridget, Thune was critical of President Donald Trump when the senator and I spoke on the phone today about the violence at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
The president is, because of the ongoing claims about fraud in the election, got a lot of people very spun up. And I think he did a disservice to people across this country, including many in South Dakota that I've heard from, who believe that the election was stolen. It was not.
It's a reality that not everyone accepts right now.
The election was won and lost fairly and squarely. There are always incidents of irregularities and fraud, as there are in every election, but nothing on a level that would have changed any outcome in any state.
Do you think the president incited those people in any way?
Well, I think the president encouraged people, obviously, to go up to the Capitol. I don't think you can hold him responsible for violent behavior, unless, of course, that can be proven that he encouraged that, which I have not seen.
Thune again uses the word disservice to describe Trump's messaging.
But I think the fact that the president for so long continued to, try and convince people in this country that the election was stolen from him was a disservice to people, and it got people to believe something that wasn't true. And I think that you could argue, I suppose, was partly the, at least at the beginning, the origin of a lot of this.
The senator is also looking into what will happen with Trump's second impeachment.
I think there are some very serious constitutional questions that we're looking into on whether you can impeach a former president. It is a process, obviously, that's inherently divisive for the country. There's no way around that. And, I question the wisdom behind it and whether it's what the country needs right now. But if the articles come over, obviously, if we do have a trial, I'll follow the Constitution.
For now, he is not tipping his hand on how he'll vote.
I've made it very clear that I don't agree with the president's conduct leading up to January 6th. But, in light of the fact that there is potentially a trial coming up at the moment, I probably will refrain from making any other comments about that.
I'm working now to line up an interview tomorrow with South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan.